Welcome back for another deep dive. So today we're all about thyme, and I bet you're thinking, okay, another spice, big deal. But trust me, this is about way more than just adding some flavor to your dishes. We're talking about potential health benefits that might actually surprise you.
Yeah, thyme is a lot more than just something you use in cooking. It's actually got this really interesting antioxidant profile.
Antioxidants, right? We hear that word all the time, but I'm not always sure what they actually do.
Okay, so imagine your cells are like under constant attack, right? And the attackers are these things called free radicals. They're unstable molecules, and they damage our cells by stealing electrons from them. This kind of messes up the cell's structure and how it works, like knocking out a support beam in a building.
Okay, so these free radicals are like tiny little vandals running around and causing damage in our bodies.
Exactly, yeah. And that's where antioxidants come in. They're like the superheroes. They come in and neutralize those free radicals and protect our cells from that damage. Thyme, specifically, is packed with these two powerful antioxidants, thymol and carvacrol.
So every time we sprinkle some thyme on our food, we're not just adding flavor, we're basically sending in this tiny army to protect our cells. It's like microscopic health defenders.
Exactly. And it goes beyond that. Thyme has also been used for a long time to help boost the immune system and for respiratory health, too.
Now that you mention it, my grandma used to make me thyme tea whenever I had a cough as a kid. She swore by it.
Well, there's a reason for that. That thymol we talked about, it acts as an expectorant. Basically, it helps to thin out the mucus in your airways so it's easier to cough up and clear congestion.
So grandma's remedy was backed by science.
Mm-hmm.
Love it when that happens. But wait, there's more, right? Something about digestion, too.
You got it. Thyme has antimicrobial properties, so it can help keep your gut flora balanced, which is super important for healthy digestion. Plus, don't forget the fiber, which helps keep things moving, if you know what I mean. So whether you're adding it to roasted veggies or tossing it in a stew, that thyme is giving your digestive system a little extra support.
I'm starting to think we should rename thyme the Mighty Thyme. It's doing more for me than my gym membership, it seems like. But speaking of getting stronger, I heard there's a connection between thyme and bone health, too. Is that right?
That's right. Thyme's got several nutrients that are really important for strong bones. We all know about calcium, right? But thyme also has manganese, and that plays a big role in forming what's called the bone matrix. It's like the scaffolding that gives your bones their strength and keeps them sturdy.
So it's not just about calcium. Thyme is working on multiple levels to keep our bones healthy. Okay, I'm feeling way more informed and I haven't even finished my coffee yet. But before I grab another cup, we have to address the elephant in the room, time and mood. Is there really a link there?
This is where things get really interesting. There's more and more evidence suggesting that thyme, and specifically its essential oil, could actually boost mood. Some studies have shown it might have what are called anxiolytic effects, meaning it might help reduce feelings of stress and anxiety.
Okay, now I'm intrigued. How does that work? Is it just the aroma that calms us down, or is there something else going on?
Well, the aroma definitely plays a part, but there's more to it than that. Researchers think that certain compounds in thyme essential oil, especially carvacrol, actually interact with our nervous system in ways that help us relax and reduce those feelings of anxiety.
Wow, so it's not just aromatherapy. There's actually a real chemical process happening in our brains.
Exactly. It's fascinating how something as simple as an herb can have such a big impact on how we feel. Of course, there's still a lot more research to be done to fully understand how it all works, but those initial findings are definitely promising.
I have to admit, I never thought time could be so complex. I'm definitely seeing it in a whole new light now. But before we go too deep into the science, maybe it's time to talk about the practical side of things, right? How can we actually incorporate time into our daily lives, and are there any precautions we should know about?
Those are great questions. And yeah, we're definitely going to dive into those aspects in more detail.
So we've talked about how amazing time is. It's like a superhero in the kitchen, but like with any superhero, I guess there are some warnings, right? Especially when we're talking about the essential oil.
Oh yeah, definitely. Thyme essential oil is super potent, so you only need a tiny bit. Don't go slathering it on directly.
Okay, so no thyme oil massages, bummer.
hmm
But seriously, how do we use it safely?
The key is diluting it. Like always mix a few drops of thyme essential oil with a carrier oil like almond oil or coconut oil before you put it on your skin.
Got it. And what about eating it, like actually ingesting it? I've seen some recipes online that use thyme essential oil. Is that safe?
I'd say no, not really, unless you're working with like a healthcare professional who knows what they're doing. Essential oils are super concentrated, so they can actually be toxic if you take them straight up. Just stick to using regular thyme in your cooking and save the essential oil for your skin or aromatherapy.
Okay, that makes sense. So dilute for topical use, no eating it without talking to a doctor first. Got it.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yeah, always do a patch test first before you put any diluted essential oil on your skin, especially if you have sensitive skin. Just put a little bit on a small area and wait a day to see if anything happens, like any reaction. And of course, if you're pregnant or breastfeeding or taking any medications, definitely talk to your doctor before using thyme oil or any herbal remedies for that matter.
Right. Better safe than sorry. Always. Okay, so we've covered the essential oil, but let's get back to thyme in our food for a minute. I feel like it just blends into the background a lot of times, like it's not the star of the show.
I know what you mean. Thyme is so versatile, but people don't always appreciate it. That earthy, kind of minty flavor goes with so many things: soups, stews, roasted veggies, even some desserts.
Oh, I love putting a sprig of fresh thyme in my smoothies in the morning. Gives it a little extra something. And I feel like I'm getting those health benefits too.
That's a great idea. You can also infuse thyme into olive oil or vinegar. Makes an amazing salad dressing. The possibilities are kind of endless, really.
You're giving me some serious culinary inspiration here. But before we all run off to our kitchens, let's talk about the history of thyme for a sec. I know it's been around forever, but what was it actually used for?
Well, thyme's got a long history. We're talking ancient civilizations here. Did you know the ancient Egyptians used it for embalming?
Wait, really? So they used thyme in their mummification process. That's wild.
Yep. They believed that thyme could help preserve things. That tells you something about how powerful its antibacterial and antifungal qualities are.
It's amazing to think we use the same herb in our cooking today that they used thousands of years ago. What else did they use it for?
Well, the ancient Greeks and Romans, they loved thyme too. They thought it represented courage and strength. Roman soldiers would even bathe in water infused with thyme before they went into battle.
Wow, talk about a pre-game ritual. It seems like thyme has always been connected to strength and resilience, hasn't it?
For sure. And it wasn't just about physical strength. They also thought it had purifying properties. They would burn it like incense in their temples and homes.
Oh, so it was like their version of sage, cleansing the air and keeping bad vibes away.
Exactly. And of course, thyme has been used in traditional medicine forever to treat all sorts of things.
It's so cool how those ancient traditions connect with modern science, like we're rediscovering the wisdom of our ancestors. Speaking of science, is there anything new happening with thyme research these days?
Always. Researchers are still exploring what thyme can do, especially when it comes to how it affects our brains and our mood.
So maybe the Greeks and Romans were onto something with that whole courage and strength thing. Maybe it's connected to how thyme can make us feel. I bet we'll be talking more about that in a future deep dive, though.
You bet. The world of thyme is huge, always more to discover. But for now, why don't we move on to that delicious recipe you were talking about earlier? I'm actually getting kind of hungry now that you mention it.
Me too. And the best part is, this recipe is a fantastic way to get those benefits of thyme into your diet. So get ready for some thyme-infused lemon chicken. Okay, we're back, and it's time to finally get to that thyme-infused lemon chicken recipe I promised you. You won't believe how easy this is, and the flavors are just so bright and fresh.
It's a perfect example of how you can really use thyme in all sorts of ways in the kitchen. Plus, you're getting all those potential health benefits at the same time.
All right, so let's break it down. What are the key players here, ingredient-wise?
You'll need some boneless, skinless chicken breasts, olive oil, some fresh lemon juice, garlic, of course, and the star of the show, fresh thyme.
Fresh thyme is a must, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. When you can use fresh herbs, you get the most flavor, and you're really maximizing those antioxidants.
Okay, so we've got our ingredients. What's the first step?
First things first, we're going to make a marinade. Combine that olive oil, lemon juice, garlic, and thyme, and let those chicken breasts hang out in that mixture for at least 30 minutes so the flavors can really soak in.
While the chicken is doing its thing, let's talk about variations. What if I'm not a huge fan of chicken breasts?
Good question. This recipe is super flexible. You can totally swap out the chicken breast for boneless, skinless thighs. Even fish or tofu would work. You just gotta adjust the cooking time a little bit depending on what you use.
And what about the herbs? Can we get creative there too?
Of course. Rosemary and oregano actually go really well with thyme and lemon. Don't be afraid to experiment and see what you like best.
So our chicken's been marinating. What's next?
Time to sear it. Get your skillet nice and hot, medium-high heat, and sear that chicken on both sides. That's going to lock in the moisture and give it a nice golden brown crust.
Searing is like a game changer for any kind of protein, I swear. It just makes it so much better, both the texture and the flavor.
Totally agree. Once it's seared, Pop it into a baking dish and finish it off in the oven until it reaches 165 degrees Fahrenheit internally.
While the chicken is baking, what about that marinade? It seems like a shame to let it go to waste.
Oh, absolutely not. You can actually add the marinade to the baking dish with the chicken, give it even more flavor, or you can simmer it on the stovetop and make a delicious sauce to pour over the chicken later.
Okay, chicken is cooked through, sauce is ready, was the final touch.
Presentation. We eat with our eyes first, right? So let's make it pretty. Add some fresh lemon slices and a few extra sprigs of thyme on top for that pop of color and that amazing aroma.
This sounds incredible. Seriously, and so easy too. I can't wait to try it out.
Mm.
But before we all head to our kitchens, let's take a minute to remember everything we talked about today.
We started with those powerful antioxidants in thyme and how they can help protect us from damage at the cellular level.
Right. And then there's that whole history of thyme being used for everything from boosting immunity to easing coughs to helping with digestion.
Oh, yeah. And let's not forget about those potential mood-boosting effects of the essential oil.
Seriously, who knew thyme could do so much? It really is amazing what nature can do.
It really is. And as we saw with this recipe, it's so easy to bring thyme into your everyday life. Whether you're using it fresh or dried, thyme can really take your dishes to the next level while giving you those health benefits.
So as we wrap up this thyme adventure, here's a final thought for you. How can you incorporate thyme into your daily routine?
Maybe you start adding a sprig to your tea in the morning, or you try out some new recipes that feature thyme, or maybe you just take a second to appreciate the incredible aroma of this powerful little herb.
However you choose to enjoy it, thyme is a gift, that's for sure, and it deserves a spot in our kitchens and in our lives.
Thanks for joining us for this thyme deep dive. We'll see you next time. Keep exploring and keep learning.